You wanted to meet the team, you're facing with 10 opponents. I'm the truest son of the Demon King, erasing Meliodas, cause he would just leave the family tree. Betraying me is still hopeless when I'm keeping the piety. You'll be enslaved with hypnosis. The goal is killing the sins I'm sitting up there with the throne is. I'll do it alone if the others opposed to get power, even as cirrhosis. I'm the coldest with the swordplay, and I may be a little short, but just ask my dad. God power, here's my forte.
What's going on, Demon Clan? It is your boy Demon King Reacts, and I'm back today with a different kind of video for all of you guys. Thank you guys for 350 subscribers. I appreciate that. Let's continue. Let's climb to 400. But today we have Hero. Hey, I've been seeing bro been going around. He's been covering this VA drama, and it seems like we have some more Paimon Crash Out videos. So I've been wanting to throw my 2 cents into this situation for a long time, so let's see what information he has for us today. If you guys like this video, please consider liking and subscribing to join the Demon Clan. Let's push to 400 subscribers. As I just said previously, y'all go show Hero Hey some love and show support for him putting in all this work. And without further ado, let's get on with this reaction, shall we?
Welcome back. Thank you for joining me. Today we've got a very interesting update on PAIMON VA Karina Boetker. While Karina's activity on social media seems to have been decreasing ever since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing, where a number of English voice actors got exposed for being manipulative, toxic, etc., etc., it seems like instead Karina's been very active over on Blue Sky, where Karina and other...
Of course she would be active on Blue Sky because her whole Twitter reputation is over. I'm hoping that HOYO just get rid of everybody who's been toxic or narcissistic and just overall manipulative. Because at first, you know, they had me. I was all supportive of this strike. But then it's like after recently finding out that this wasn't about AI protection or anything. It was just about making one of this non-union game go union. Just because they wanted to, I feel like that's entirely wrong. And you guys are not only making the game, ruining the experience for me, but a lot of other people. Because I had a friend of mine just yesterday post a video saying he's giving up on Genshin Impact because it is not the game it's not the same game when he started playing. So they just need to get rid of these people, recast, and let's move on. Because for me, Natland was so good, especially like the first part of the Archon quest, but most of it was ruined because there were no voices. We got cool music, we got cool comebacks, you know, everybody's celebrating, you know. It was such a pivotal moment for Natland during the Abyss, the Night Water Wars, when Mavuika implemented the Ode of Resurrection, and the next thing you know, no voices. Like that, it just ruined the experience, and it's still ruining the experience. Even with World Quest, we didn't even like the fact that World Quest, especially the long ones, like the 2-hour ones, the 2-hour long ones, weren't even voiced. So it's just like now they're doing it with our Archon quest. It's just like by the time I feel like by the time Nard Karai comes out, everybody that was bullying and all that, they need to be recast. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Other voice actors in that clique seem to be very upset at those who criticize their actions. Of course, I'm talking about actions such as the harassment of Jacob Takanashi, how a number of these sort of voice actors were lying about their strike, and how it turned out to not even be an official strike, and instead what they're now calling a collective work refusal. So yeah, you know, things like that. Stuff that we've been talking about for the last few weeks, on and off. Before we go to Blue Sky and take a look at some of that recent stuff, let's hop over to Karina's TikTok and check out Karina's last TikTok post. Well, not really the post itself, but the comments on it. We can now see comments such as, please ignore all the positive comments. Spoiler alert, there are basically no positive comments anymore anyways. Can't wait for Paimon's VA recast. Alkoga is better VA than you. Can't wait for the non-problematic VA. Kenichi is better than Paimon.
See, this is what I mean. Nobody likes her anymore. We all want her to be recast. And I'm assuming HOYO is gathering evidence to be able to because she's a poster child. She voices the poster child of Genshin. That is an unrefutable fact. But due to all the things she said, especially like the part where she was, I think the last video Hero Hey did that I watched, she basically said that she's not getting paid for her job or not working. So I'm like, if you're not getting paid for your job and you don't like the work conditions of your job, I think it's time for you to find you another job and let somebody else take it from there. that's normal. That's common sense. But here you are holding this character hostage because you want things to go your way, but it's not gonna go how you think it's gonna go, and you keep saying that you have autism or anything. But Karina, you know, I'm sorry to tell you this, but having a job is not necessarily a privilege. You got an opportunity that anybody else could have gotten, but they chose you out of the many few people, or the many lots of people that voice acted for that role or were casted for that role, and you got selected. So the fact that you're doing this is like a big slap to HOYO, in my opinion.
Paimon, by the way. I hope Paimon has a new VA. I've never hoped that someone would be fired and never hired again so much in my life. Get out. Did you find a new job? So this whole time there's no strike. The VAs, especially you, have been throwing a fit, bullied someone who's actually doing his job, mind you, needs the money because he has a family. The rest gets cut off here. I don't know. I can't see the rest of it. Continuing a little bit more though, and yeah, these are all the most liked comments on that TikTok. Can't wait for your replacement. Waiting for your replacement. How are we more mature than a 35-year-old woman? Don't listen to the positive comments. But yeah, I can't even see any positive comments anyways. We gotta recast Paimon. No one wants someone who bullies another VA for something they didn't know. Now then, let's sit back and see the comments roll in.
Okay, Strange Girl, you're right, but it's not even about the bullying. It's like the fact that she lied and she manipulated the entire community, lied to and manipulated the entire community. You had our support, you had everything, but then all the truth, everything in dark come to light eventually. So the fact that you even did that, and the fact that, you know, is your original cause has fallen, but now you're continuing to dig yourself a hole, and you're making the game worse. You've made this game worser in the character so bad that even the CN players want you gone. People who don't even speak English want you gone because they're looking at us and what we're going through. They want you gone. That's how bad it is. You're affecting this product that HOYO was so graciously, you know, they gave us for the pandemic, and you're ruining it. Like, a lot of people joined, especially people like me. I joined whenever we were all locked inside, and this is a great way to, you know, carry us through those dark times. But now you're taking something that was good, and, you know, and now you're bastardizing it. And the poster child of the most important character of the game, one of the most important characters, is Aether and Lumine and Dane and all of them. But this is Paimon, because she's so hidden in mystery, you're ruining it. And it's just like, now that when I see your face, I'm like, I cannot believe this is the person that's voice acting Paimon. That's just whatever. I can't be the only one that feels that way.
At this point, just pretend nothing happened until the end of the line. You ruined the strike for all your fellow VAs. It goes beyond Kenichi VA now. This is the point of no return anyways. So it's actually pretty hilarious, the stuff that people are coming up with and commenting on there. And that's just a very small sample size. There are literally hundreds of comments just like those. I mean, to be even more specific, there's like 700 plus comments that all seem to be critical. And that's just on Karina's latest video. It seems like that same thing's been happening on a number of videos that Karina has made since the whole Jacob Takanashi thing occurred. Okay, you know what? Here's one more comment I want to show you guys. This is from a different video. So this person says to Karina, "We all love you so much." We all say as our wooden noses grow. I thought that one was pretty clever. But okay, now we'll hop over to Blue Sky and take a look at this little rant from Karina. Responding to this person, Crystal, and saying, "So you're gonna ignore that you said these alt-right, anti-union talking points?" You can see a deleted post, so presumably...
Alt-right? Is she making this political now? Oh my days. I mean, I kind of seen it coming. I mean, this is... Let's just be real. She's a typical liberal. Nobody else is gonna say it. I will. I'm not afraid. She's just a liberal woman. Let's just put it out there. Oh my gosh. This is the peak liberal woman. Miserable. Just gets online, yaps about, you know, nothing, lies to people, deceives people, and people are gonna side with her too. That's a crazy thing. That's even crazier. And let's not forget she's in California, so blue state, by the way, blue city or whatever. I'm like, bro, it's just this is what we have to deal with over here. And I'm not even gonna push it past it. Once this whole situation goes over, I won't even be mad if HOYO doesn't recast anybody from the West anymore, and for further projects or anything. For situation, because she has probably now ruined the chances of anybody else from the West getting hired on for HOYO.
Presumably Crystal ended up deleting the post or something. We got these screenshots. Let's see what this says. Oh my gosh, that's huge. We can't actually see it. Okay, let me fix that somehow. It says, alt-right nonsense? I'm not the right. I only bought politics since a global game is at stake for being unionized. Presumably they mean I'm not on the right and I've only brought up politics since a global game is at stake for being unionized. Which would make other countries be upset. I seriously can't believe you think that anyone disagreeing is alt-right. Disgusting behavior by you. And
typical. I'm sorry if I get. This is what the liberals do. This is what they do. Even when you say you're on their side and you kind of agree with them, but if you say anything that you disagree with them just a little bit, they just hate you. I'm telling y'all, this is how it is.
a second screenshot saying, still shouldn't be union, because being union affects other countries' laws and stuff as well. So like I said, Karina and other VAs are upset on their Blue Sky accounts with people who are criticizing their union rhetoric. That takes us back to this thread, where we can once again see Karina responding to that, saying, so you're going to ignore that you said these alt-right anti-union talking points? To which she gets into it with this other guy, Eric. Eric saying, those opinions are not alt-right. You're using a label, incorrectly, to deflect and discredit a different opinion. Why not ask why they believe what they do? If they are wrong, then provide information, not opinions. And they might change their view. Help us learn, and be open to learning from others. But Karina says this. Dane, saying that an American union, someone has control over another... Wait, hold on, what? Saying that an American union, someone has control over another country's laws, is in fact an anti-union alt-right talking point. Not an opinion, because it is literally not possible. If unions had control over other countries, then Beyonce's union for McDonald's Kohl's have made every McDonald's worker in the US make way more money and have healthcare.
Okay, for one, so which is it? You're not making money, or you're making more money? Like, what are we doing, bro? What the bro? Oh my gosh. She's making it political, dog.
Wait, that was such weird phrasing. What the frick? If unions had control over other countries' fiancés' union for McDonald's Kohl's have made every... This seems like it could be a copy pasta, bro. Like one of those nonsensical copy pastas. I'm gonna try one last time. If unions had control over other countries, then fiancés' union for McDonald's Kohl's have made every McDonald's worker in the US make way more money and have healthcare. Okay. So yeah, then Eric responds and says to Karina, your words, including the screenshot we'll take a look at. Unions quote-unquote influence each other. If HOYO signs the SAG contract, SAG could influence unions in other countries. HOYO could have multiple unions in other countries banging down their door with more contracts. Not all of them will be fair and reasonable. Influence can be harmful. And the screenshot included of Karina saying this just the other day. And SAG doesn't have control over other unions in other countries. Unions influence each other, but it's the same thing like the British Actors Union also influences us. That just happens because actors work together. And then Karina goes off, saying, China doesn't have unions. We can't influence anything there. Also, it's as much influence...
Wait, we can't influence anything? What are you on about? What does this even mean? This isn't even a... we can't? Okay, what? We can't influence anything there. Also, it's as much... Should have just said it is as much influence... Or it has as much influence as an influencer telling you to go buy a certain product. They can go bargain on behalf of workers in any other country. Not how that works. Okay. Oh man, aneurysm, bro. I'm gonna get a whole aneurysm.
Influence as an influencer telling you to go buy a certain product. They can't bargain on the behalf of workers in another country. Not how that works. Like when the British Union for VAs gets a certain perk, that might influence us American VAs to ask for that same perk. But that's like how the frickin' internet works. That is not SAG going on behalf of the workers, which they can't do in other countries. You think it's bad that workers would fight for better working conditions if they see people in certain countries having better working conditions? Because right now, us in the US, we are actually asking for the same protections our Chinese actors are getting. They influenced us. See how that works? Eric responds, saying, "No, I don't think it's bad to fight for better working conditions. I think your heart is in the right place, but your interactions with people discussing concerns are really making things worse." Karina responds, saying, "Again, if people are bringing up alt-right anti-union nonsense, like this person originally brought up, that SAG can control other countries' laws, which they can't, that is not a person that is arguing in good faith, and pointing out that this person did that is how conversations work." Eric says, "Stop labeling someone else's opinion as alt-right just because you don't agree with it or understand it. I keep trying to extend the courtesy to you that you're refusing to give to others. Nobody is bringing your political views into question or dismissing your opinion because they disagree." Karina says, "Stop trying to label an alt-right talking point as exactly what it is. You're actually not being courteous. Dismissing the truth is actually not courteous at all." I just didn't know, like, Karina was one of these people who constantly goes off about, like, "Oh, that's alt-right, this is alt-right, blah blah."
Hero, this is what bro. I don't know if you ever watch this video. If you do, this is what they do. They literally, if you did, you cannot. It's their way or it's the highway. There is no in between with them. I mean, there are some. Not everybody's like. They're not all like this, but the more radical ones, you cannot bargain with them. You can say you're on their side, and they will still not believe you. These people. There's no pleasing these people. I'm telling you, bro. I see it every day on TikTok when I hop into debates with them. This is just how they are. Just don't even go down that rabbit hole. I'm just telling you now.
Blah 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 blah. So I find that interesting. Here's something else interesting, because we can see Karina also responding to Noah Gibson saying,
"Yo, Noah was in one of the last video or one of the videos before. He was like, 'Karina, you need to say something. This is bad,' or something like that." So let's see what he says. This is hilarious, bro.
Exactly this. Noah Gibson responding to a deleted post, presumably the one that Karina was responding to before and going off on before that other individual, Eric, was trying to defend the person that Karina was going off on, who deleted the post. And Noah Gibson, if you watch my prior segments on the Genshin VA stuff, you might remember this person because they gave us one of the most hilarious quotes in the entire Genshin VA situation, which is saying a lot. So, back in my video titled Genshin VA for Paimon has complete lost it, we had Karina making that excuse of like, "Oh, it was just AI. That video of me wasn't actually me," right? Like you can see here. Oh yeah, Noah Gibson said, "So this is AI and you've never said this? I agree that YouTubers don't know anything though." Linking to that video of Karina's crash out, which Karina said, "Yes, that is AI. And yes, the YouTubers do know it. They just don't care." But
okay, to be fair, you can say that AI, I mean, not AI, but YouTubers don't know anything, but we don't know anything until the information is presented to us. When the facts and everything's laid bare, you really can't say people aren't educated or cannot educate themselves on certain topics, especially something like this, or, you know, whatever it is. The information is easily accessible for everyone. So this claim could go both ways, but it's just foolish to say, you know, you can't know anything because you're not in that field or anything. In my opinion, I'm just saying, like, that's just like saying, like, for AI artists say AI, you know, just like we say, pick up a pencil and draw, I mean, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, we can't do that." Well, like I said, the information is there, the tools are there, you just have to apply that or learn it. So.
But then, going back to where we just left off right here, someone responded, Korn specifically, saying, "Is this not your TikTok account?" and linking to that very crash out video on Karina's TikTok account, to which Noah Gibson then said, "At Karina, this is bad. You gotta say something fast. You gotta say something fast, Karina. This is bad. They have evidence. You know, stuff that we're allergic to. Evidence. Oh no." Let me also mention this really quick because I forget if I mentioned this before, so I'm just going to stuff it here to be safe. But yeah, Noah Gibson does claim to also be a voice artist. Is that like a voice actor, I guess? But yeah, voice artist. And so now going back to the current stuff, we've got Noah Gibson, that person, once again. Karina seems to like this person a lot. Let's see. Noah Gibson says, "You don't have to be alt-right to fall for anti-union propaganda. Unions are net positive things. I'm in a union at my workplace, so I know firsthand how much they can improve your work environment and wages. You are heavily uninformed by whoever keeps feeding you false information." Karina says exactly this. There is literally verifiable evidence of how SAG-AFTRA has hurt its own members in various ways, something these people seem like they will never admit to. For example, I previously discussed in a different video how SAG-AFTRA changed their own healthcare policies in ways that negatively impacted thousands of their own members, disproportionately also impacting senior members, and these were people who paid into that healthcare plan for decades that SAG then threw under the bus. And those seniors even brought forth litigation against the union, to which SAG then desperately settled out of court. But now going back to the start of this conversation, what kicked this all off, do you remember how Karina was responding to this person, presumably Crystal? I showed these two images that were included, where we can then presume Crystal had also said something in this deleted post here. Well, we have an update on Crystal, because it looks like these VAs, like Karina and Noah Gibson, have apparently bullied this person into submission. We can see right here, Crystal ends up saying this: "I messed up."
No, there is no way, Crystal. You do not have to. See, this is like the things I don't like about people. When you get into, like, when you're in the spotlight and you argue, you never want to back down. Stand on what you believe. What you believe is right, especially when it pertains to the facts. Stand on that. Do not cower. Never. Like, no. If you believe something is wrong, stand on that. Do not cower just because this is a certain artist or a certain somebody you follow, one of your top. I wouldn't care if it was Corey Kenshin. If you believe something he did is wrong, and you have the facts to prove that it was wrong, stand on that. Like, for real, like, bro, I could care less if you don't like me, if you like me or not.
"I'm sorry. I didn't fully understand the strike. I wasn't well informed, even with what I learned of the strike. I thought that someone was being a bully by calling someone a scab. Little did I know, it was just a term when someone crossed the picket line. I thought that scab meant a scab on society, so that's why I was saying that the VA was a bully and that I don't support them. If I knew that there were two meanings of scab instead of one, then I wouldn't have viewed it as bullying. When I kept seeing the word scab being used by that VA, I thought they were purposely bullying them. I know that my words for saying that VA was a bully may have hurt all VA. I am with all VA, because I thought, well, since this person said scab, that they mean a scab on society, block. I know that this apology won't be forgiven for who have called a bully, and my misunderstanding of the word scab. I now know the two definitions of them and what they mean. Thank you for reading this, if you have come this far. At Karina, I'm sorry." And Karina responds, saying, "Hey, no worries, misunderstandings happen. This is why I want..."
See, this is what I mean. The moment you start agreeing with them is when they start liking you. But you see how before she was at her throat because she was disagreeing with her? That's just how fake these people are. They're virtual they virtue signal. Their way or just like I said before, their way or the highway. There is no in between. There's no middle ground. There's no nothing. You can't really do anything.
"Wanted to believe you and kept talking to you yesterday. I'm glad that we can come to this understanding now, and you still don't have to like me. I know I am prickly as a person, especially over text, but you're clearly a good person, and you doing this shows how good of a person you are." This is such gaslighting, because the word scab is an insult. It's not just a term for when someone crossed the picket line. They literally, in union history, this term was literally chosen to be a nasty sounding word. It's intentional. Like, it's not just coincidence that scab is like, oh, a scab from like a wound or whatever. And they also use the word scab in this context too, regarding this union stuff. No, it's very specific why they picked that word. Back in the 18th and 19th century, the word scab also apparently evolving from the word scoundrel. And so if Karina was honest, in my opinion, what Karina should do here is explain, what scab really means, and that it is indeed an insult. But of course, Karina isn't going to mention that, right? Of course. No, instead they're happy to try and mislead people into, oh no, we would never bully anyone. Harass Jacob Takanashi, or harass anyone, bully anyone. No, of course not. And so part of the reason I wanted to talk about that was because it was also giving me flashbacks to when Karina was basically bullying this person, this YouTuber, Darkos88, because you probably are familiar with this by now, but quick TLDR, Darkos88, according to my recollection, made a YouTube short that was talking about how Karina was trying to get people on TikTok to email HOYOverse demanding that HOYOverse sign their agreement, the union agreement, or however they're phrasing it for their strike or whatever they want to call it. And so people in the responses to that YouTube short were saying like, no, don't do this. The agreement's probably bad for X, Y, and Z, going and listing reasons why they disagree with what Karina was demanding. But essentially they were saying like, no, don't listen to Karina, and definitely don't email HOYOverse demanding that they sign this agreement. And so Darkos88 then made a video, a follow-up video, saying that he was basically sorry for blindly just going along with whatever Karina had said, and that he should have looked into the situation more, and he sees the critiques that people have towards the union agreement, or once again however they're phrasing it now. And this ultimately led to Karina seemingly making that crash out video that's now become like iconic, and also this whole rant on Twitter that you're only seeing a part of here, but basically being very toxic towards Darkos88 over this, and eventually getting Darkos88 to delete the video and even apologize. And it just reminded me of how she was treating that person over on Blue Sky too. And in closing, this all circles me back to Jacob Takanashi, and how we saw VAs like Karina attempting to bully Jacob into submission. And in this case, submission probably wasn't just apologizing, but also giving up the role, because they were so upset that he replaced John Patnois, I think the name was, as he hadn't voiced the role for like 6 months, was refusing to work for like 6 months, a part of this collective work refusal thing. So Jacob Takanashi accepts the role, very grateful for the work, very thankful for the job, and all these other VAs team up on him and harass him. In this case, trying to get him to submit to their demands, which was probably not simply an apology, but also giving up the role. And as we all know, that ended up backfiring tremendously on these VAs, but we can still see how some of them are on Blue Sky. For example, in this video, Karina and Noah, as we went over, are still trying to insult people who dared criticize the union, therefore then labeling them alt-right and trying to get them to apologize, etc., etc. And it's really impressive, actually. It's astonishing how stubborn these VAs are, receiving so much reasonable criticism from people, pointing out issues with how they treat others and issues with their rhetoric, and what do? Oh, they double down. That's what they do. Yeah, this ain't character growth. This is like negative character growth from these people. That's where I'll leave this one. As always, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you. Have a great day, and
like I said before, you know, the best scenario forward from this is everybody gets recasted, and we can put this behind us, and we can just, you know, hope Genshin gets better. But because we do not need people like this, you know, working for this game. Like, no, this just wrong. And now people are like I said, people will do anything, especially fans. They will do anything to get liked by these people, even if you disagree with them. They want to be liking their virtue signal. Gaslight. They do whatever they can to keep people on their side. But I'm so glad that a lot of people are calling these people out on their BS. So, like I said, if you guys like this video, please consider liking and subscribing to join the Demon Clan. Shout out to Hero Hey for making this very informative video. And I will see you all within the next one. Deuces.